All right.
Okay.
Let's go for it.
So, here's the thing, right? I love some productivity. I love a good system. I love good things. Call me David Allen because I like getting things done.
Everybody loves getting things done.
Lies. Not everyone loves getting things done.
Some people like process.
Some people like process. Some people like sitting back and going, oh, nothing's getting done, so I can continue to do what I've always done.
Yeah, that is true.
So that is true. But I have a love-hate relationship, particularly with productivity software that I am testing out to bring into my process. And sometimes I need therapy with it, and sometimes we don't. So there's my love-hate relationship.
And for me, it's less love-hate and more hate-hate. I always get to the same point where I'm like, this was a colossal waste of time. I think I would love to have something that works, but I always think like, this was so much work, and now it's here, and I'm barely using it. And I already know that's gonna happen. So, hate.
Well, so first off, let's address a bias.
Yes, there is a bias.
If you go into it with, I am already going to hate this, it's not going to work, then it's truly not going to work. Don't be a tool about the tool, guy.
That's okay.
Fair?
Fair.
Okay.
Fair. But
so,
yeah, go ahead.
No, tell me more.
So for me, what I tend to do to guard against that is I go all in, but I also say I'm going to give it X number of months before I go back and evaluate the utility. So I give me a space of time. But over time, I've learned that more often than not, I'm just using it for avoidance. Because I can do this thing where I'm developing the tool and I'm putting everything new. I'm being productive by not doing the work I actually need to be doing, and that's what I'm afraid of.
I love a good episode of productivity theater. Makes me so happy. The Great British Productivity Off. It's just delightful.
I love that. We should launch that show.
So right now, Kathy, our undergraduate program assistant and I are playing with Planner, right? The Microsoft space, and we've got, partially because I am tired of my email being an ongoing to-do list that has no organization.
Yes.
And
it's
not a good process. So we're playing with Planner, and we've got task boards and buckets, and they're tidy, and like, as we're starting it, this is relatively new. We've been doing this for 3 weeks now, Kathy, I think. And it's a lot of organization right now. It's a lot of like putting things where they belong and not necessarily as much doing yet.
So I used Planner for a while with one of my graduate students. We have a lot of projects together, and it worked for a while, and the maintenance just about killed me. So that is a challenge.
It is a challenge. And then we've got things like Loop, right? Which is a newer Microsoft product, and it's great, I think, for collaboration until you just realize it's all in how you use it, because it can also be a graveyard for really pretty documents that nobody reads.
That is very true. And don't forget Notes. Simple, accessible, whether you're using the Notes app or you're using one of those sticky notes app and your screen is covered or whatever it is, it's where great ideas go to die. It's a file drawer, digital file drawer of sorts. You can share, you can do, but it's still, it can take over your screen, and it's not more effective than anything else. I'm Guy Training. I'm a professor here at UNL.
And I'm Nick Huseby. I am an associate professor of elementary literacy education here at UNL. And today, we're asking the cranky question of, do Planner, Loop, and Notes actually help, or are they just new ways to procrastinate, but with branding? And we're dancing. Whoa, that was a little like Grand Theft Auto.
Yes, well, the coffee is kicking in. I am finding my groove. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so let's start talking about Planner, which is a new space for me, but it sounds like you have some experience with this.
Yeah,
Talk
I have
to me
been
about it.
playing with Planner for a while. And one of the reasons that I use Planner is simply it sits inside Microsoft, and Microsoft is our productivity software. So the thought there is I want to work with something that works for everything else in my life. This is why I use Outlook. This is why I use all the other pieces. It's not that they're my favorite necessarily, but integration matters a lot. And that ability to talk to each other is where I want to be, because I don't want to start connecting APIs and all of that and spread my password to the universe. Also, many institutions like ours, but school districts are the same, other workplaces are the same, they have firewalls. So the minute you want to work with another piece of software, there are limitations. If the university doesn't own that software, you're limited. So Planner was a really good go-to. And I've tried it in the past and let it go. This is partially because my calendar is quite full, but I found with a graduate student wanted to start working in an organized way because my chaos was driving her specifically crazy. And so we started organizing on Planner by projects. And that helped for a while. Because in that first period, in that honeymoon period, when you're entering everything, it feels amazing. It feels organized. It feels like you have truly a new beginning. I've been doing this for a long time. A new beginning is a blessed event. However, sometimes it's just a honeymoon period. And then there's marriage. And that is hard work. Marriage is hard work. It's delightful, but it is hard work. And that's where I find that many of these pieces of software go to die, is when you have to use them regularly and then you find out all their faults.
Yeah, and I feel like for you, someone who like dives in, like into the deep end, I'm not there. Because I've got some fairly solid processes.
Yes, you do.
And so when I think about a new tool, I'm careful about how I bring it in and how that functions and how it's going to work. And the thing that I personally like about Planner is how it potentially allows me to just track what people need me to do. Don't send me an email. Send me a Planner task. Like, I will share a board with you. I can break up across multiple boards, across multiple like spaces. Send me a task. I know it gets done. Because there is that like, it's kind of like we always feel so productive writing the to-do list down. What work have we done? Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nada, right? And so what I've really tried to do is make Planner my to-do list for the day and actually check stuff off, but also making sure that when there's a big item on my to-do list, that I've broken it down underneath it. That's the other thing I like about it is, you have to get everything ready for the workshop you have on Friday. And then there's 18 bullets below that that I need to fill in. So I'm liking it to that extent right now. We'll see how it works. But to go to your calendar thing, the other thing that I like is that it shows up on my calendar. Like, so everything is there when I look at the calendar. And so that integration has been really helpful.
And for me, that is helpful because at the end of the day, my real task list, honest moment of confession, my real task list is on my calendar. That is, if I didn't make time for it on my calendar, it ain't going to happen.
Right.
It ain't.
Right.
So really, the manifesting your to-do list into a timeline is where the magic happens. And Planner helps with that to a degree. It could also be that I just have too many projects. And if I pare them down,
Yeah, that could be a thing.
it would be more manageable.
Potentially. I think you might be onto something there. That's
Yes.
a good thought that you should probably unspool.
Yes.
little
And
bit
act
more.
on. I actually have been recently, and I've had some outside help for that as well.
True.
So some things just get canceled.
Sometimes
And that's a good thing.
you're the one who breaks up, and
Yes.
sometimes you get broken up with.
Yeah.
We don't like this one.
Yeah, but it is there.
It happens, you know. Well, and the other thing about Planner is like it's somewhat decontextualized.
Yes.
Right? So it's literally like a to-do list. And if you think about it from a project management kind of perspective, it really helps with here's the tasks, here's how we break it down, here's who's responsible for them. And that's it. That's pretty much what it does.
Yes.
And so if we move into Loop, which is
your new love.
my new, I don't know that I don't know that I love it,
Yeah.
but I like it enough that I've been shifting things into it. Think about Loop as it's a Microsoft product and it's really meant for collaboration. It's really meant for bringing together all these disparate parts of the Microsoft universe. Like it feels like it's the Microsoft cinematic universe, Word and Excel and Planner and all of these things. It's often hard to put all those elements in conversation with one another. I find Loop to be really helpful in terms of context for the work.
In what way? So tell me a little bit more.
So like working with, over the summer, we worked with an OER grant. And one of the things that we really clearly worked on was this team who we had to look at these unifying practices that we brought in to the program and how to build them out. And instead of having links everywhere that, you know, oh, it's over in SharePoint, or oh, it's in Planner, or it's wherever, Loop allowed us to bring all of that into one space and organize it around like a table of contents, if you were, to make the work not just organized, but comprehensible, right? And so multiple people were able to get into this loop, get into the templates that they needed, get into the Word docs that they needed, get into the Excel spreadsheets that they needed. It also integrates well with Planner. So instead of it just being a to-do list, we can track, as we're adding documents to the loop, what we're getting done. And so we had kind of a Kanban board of like, here's our high priority stuff, here's our low priority stuff, here's how we're organizing our time, et cetera, et cetera. It was also nice because we could, and this recently happened where I was like, I'm sending you a loop, a message inside loop. And you were like, I'm still figuring this out.
Yes.
Which
so
is
I
fine.
am still figuring it out, but I do like the fact that I can go, again, that it does send me an email reminder, but it doesn't stay in the email. When I have to figure out where to go, it's linked. I can go straight in and start working. I like that aspect of it. Anything that can, though, unload from my email would be probably blessed. So it's a step in the right direction for me. And we'll see how that works.
And like I said, I've been carefully integrating it more and more into not just the OER project, but I have multiple different loops. I normally have a loop for each kind of bigger project that I'm working on as I'm trying to figure out what are the boundaries of what it can do. what can it replace in my current workflow? What does it allow me to do better in my current workflow?
Yeah.
And so one of the things I think it does better from a context perspective is if we think back to even this podcast, when we planned for this podcast, we now have a loop.
Yeah.
You allowed me to convince you to
I'll loop along.
to use one.
Yes.
I looped you in.
This is get tiresome.
It's gonna be a loopy time. I got another pun in here, I'm sure, somewhere. But instead of, where is the document? Where is that? We were storing them in Google Drive, right? Like all over the place. We had file naming conventions, yada, 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 yada. This in Loop, you go to one address, you find it in the table of contents, click on it, there it is. Everything that we could do in Google Drive, we can do here in Loop. And so that whole notion of when we got in this morning, where's the planning guide for today?
It's in Loop. Yeah.
It's in Loop. It's readily available, all in one space, all in one workspace. And that, to me, there is some value added there.
So I do want to present one challenge, and that is I work collaboratively outside the university. Mm-hmm. And this is where both Planner and I think Loop, I haven't tried Loop with outside people, but because of the way the enterprise version of Microsoft works, it is really hard to bring people in.
Mm-hmm. It can be.
And they get thrown off on a regular basis. Even if you invite them, I don't know exactly what happens, but it becomes a struggle. And so what I'm thinking about always is when I'm collaborating outside the institution, what is a good piece of software? And the Microsoft products, and they're not the only ones, but that's an example where things break down for me. Mm-hmm. In a way that is not so when I work in Google Docs. So I work in Google, everybody outside very few people can connect with it. We can move it about. It's very simple. Everybody knows their Google login. So it is simple. They're not struggling. They don't need to get a password from the university to this and that and all of these things. And that's, to me, worthwhile, which makes these products a little bit less helpful for me because now I'm switching between systems. Mm-hmm. And I'm, again, going back to the point that you were making earlier, is it's coming from all directions now, where we'd like to stay within an ecosystem. And that ecosystem with Microsoft is not really possible.
Well, and here's the thing that I find interesting about Microsoft is sometimes the level of minutia that you have to pay attention to is really important. So particularly if you're working within like an enterprise license like we are, where I can add, I've figured out how to add people to loops if they're not in the UNL or Nebraska space, but there's additional steps to that that I had to do some research around in order to make that happen, right? I wish they were a little bit more user-friendly in terms of that regard, but just like policy, I can't adapt a system or not adapt a system because of one anomaly. If it works well 80% of the time, then I'm going to go with it, right?
And for sure. And just to be clear, it's not the Microsoft mistake. I think it is purposeful because you want to keep the data of the institution within. So those firewalls and those difficulties and those friction points are not random. They are intentional. Are you sure you want to include people in this?
Right.
Are you sure you still want to include them because they are from the outside, or was it a one-time thing? I think that's part. It's not a bug. It's a feature.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, and Loop, for instance, we're utilizing Loop to do some things in the LED program this semester, and part of why we can do that is because it is FERPA compliant.
Yeah.
Because
so that's
of
the
those
advantage,
things, right?
Yeah.
And to move outside of that, it's doable, but it takes some additional steps. And so the nice thing about Loop versus like a Teams or a Docs is Teams I think of as
Where conversations go to die.
They're not necessarily where conversations go to die, but they're really, it's me, if I'm thinking about that, the analog version of that tool is, it's me setting out baskets filled with documents and conversations and going, okay, find what you're looking for. And hopefully they're tabbed, etc. Whereas the loop provides that context. They're already built in, it's already there. It provides something of a narrative that's there and integrates, you know, those doc pieces.
But it doesn't do it itself. We need to do it. There's just the space to do it.
Right.
So we still need a process architect to make it work.
Well, I mean, also keeping in mind that any tool, even AI, is still a tool. You need to figure out how to use it, right? Like, I think about my grandmother, Grandma Donna, used to, not that kind of doctor grandma, but my other one. And she had the dough cutter tool, right?
Yeah.
And normally when you see a new dough cutter tool, it's shaped like a D. Hers was not. Hers was slanted.
Okay.
And that always stayed with me like it was a drunk D a little bit.
Yeah.
But that was because of how often she worked the butter into the flour when she was making dough.
Okay.
And tools aren't supposed to maintain their initial shape. They should respond to the ways in which humans use them, but humans actually have to use them, right? It's the reason I didn't buy a Tesla.
Okay. So I will challenge that a little bit.
Okay.
And that was true until very recently. You brought up AI, so I will bring up AI. And this connects to my notes. So I use notes for certain things. And we talked about this at the beginning. And the intro, it can become very quickly a digital junk drawer, right? You can just do things, although I do like the fact that we can share and we can do some things. At least if you're in the Apple ecosystem, you can share easily. Otherwise, it's a little bit harder. It's still possible. But it doesn't have any functionality at the level that we want from our productivity software. It's just a place to park things when you're totally, in my case, I am fed up with Planner. I just need something simple that I can look at and know what I'm doing today. Great. I need to edit it. I need to go through it. That's fine. Where do you go next? You can go next to loop, right? Like we've done. We started in notes and we moved to loops. That's one way. But there's another answer right now. And I was just working on this in the last month or so. And that is, now with AI, you can build your own productivity software. You can build your own tool to fit exactly what you need. Not kind of, sort of. You can build a tool, a productivity tool. So I built a productivity tool with one of my graduate students to manage the workflow of academic writing from idea all the way to a published piece and all the stops on the way. And we built a tool just for that. I don't need to take your D, right, and make it drunk by shaping it over time. I can, after I've used notes a few times and I know what the workflow in notes is, I'm like, now let's make a tool. And we actually programmed a tool that does all of that and has a beautiful dashboard and just helps me manage.
Do you use that?
Yes.
How much of that?
It's the first time I'm using a tool like that, but yes.
Because the next question I have is, was that more performance theater, like productivity theater? Could you have done that differently with an existing tool that wouldn't have required the programming?
The programming was not that long. And what it does is it took away. So I tried to do it in Planner and failed multiple times and failed. And this allows me to have a focus tool for the purpose. The butter and dough is perfect because
what was that guy?
That was the working the butter into the. I don't know. I don't.
Someone
bake.
Has never made dough.
I do not bake. I do not bake. There's a division of labor. I will cook. I will not bake. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. The tool does just what I want it to do. So it's a very specific gadget. But what I'm saying is that now with AI, we can build specific gadgets to our specifications, and we don't have to manage the extra stuff, and we don't have to settle for the things we need, but the software doesn't do. So it could be a magical point in time. I'm just saying, it could be.
I'm also saying that Microsoft has Power Apps, which you can then build upon what you already have, right?
Yeah.
So like, I think the point that I want to make is you always want to be thinking about how unique a tool you actually need.
Yes.
Because there is some productive procrastination in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like there is some productive procrastination in that versus you can build a dashboard coming from your planner fairly easily. But that requires a level of fluency.
Yes.
That, I mean, I don't see this institution investing in that kind of professional development.
Yeah. That is
right. So that is another piece. But even when I'm thinking about something like notes, like we're not saying planner or loop or notes. It's really all of them. I still use my notes. I use my notes in particular ways to capture information and sort it within the para system. And we've talked about Tiago Forte's para system before here. I'm still using that. That works for me. And then every Friday, David Allen has meetings with yourself. And I have those meetings with myself. And I sort through all of that information and figure out what I'm expending energy on the next week. I'm running into the situation where I have more tasks to do than hours in the week. But, you know, it's fine. It's fine. But, so yeah, I mean, I think each of these tools is useful, and where the bread, the kneader comes in a helpful way is no tool is automatically going to fix things for you.
Yeah.
Like no tool is just automatically going to do what you need it to do. The shiny, the new, okay, that's great and fine. But what matters when you're thinking about a tool is how you use it and how you use it daily or use it
weekly.
when it needs to be used, right? Like planner, I go back to daily. Loop, I don't necessarily go back to daily because it's linked with my planner. And normally that's just how that works. But I use it when I need to use it, and I build it within behaviors of productivity. So I'm not spinning my wheels on stuff. That doesn't mean that I am a paragon of productivity, because I am so not.
So the moral of the story here is?
Moral of the story. So the moral of the story is essentially Microsoft, Apple, the App Store, there is a productivity buffet out there. There's all kinds of tools that you can use. And we have the situation where there's so much choice and there's so much specialization that it essentially can feel like none of these actually fit what you want. It's kind of like having 3 plates of lukewarm pasta. That's all the same. There's not even a sauce differentiation. It's all, bottled Alfredo, right?
So what do we use? We use Planner for team tasks. We use Loop for thinking together. And we use Notes for quick capture. You can replace those with whatever your institution has, but you really want to make sure that you keep them in their lanes. And you're not trying to use Planner for your notes to capture at a conference or at a quick meeting or when you're jotting down ideas. And you don't want to use Notes to organize your workflows with your colleagues, because they're just not good choices.
And what's most important there is the rituals, the actual work that you engage in with each of these tools, right? If you don't have a weekly check-in, planner boards just turn into landfills. And there will come times where particular loops have fulfilled their need. And so you close them down, you start a new one. These aren't necessarily perpetual tools. They all have endings.
And that's really important to remember, that you do have to have endings, and sometimes you have to end tools. I do want to say that.
Yeah.
Sometimes my sense of it is this is not helpful. So find in those weekly or maybe monthly meetings, after you set a time and say, I'm going to try this tool for 3 months. But if after 3 months, it's still not in your workflows, either you need to work on your workflows or this is the wrong tool and it's time to say goodbye and let it die.
Well, and that question about what are your workflows
Yes.
becomes really, really important.
Yes.
Because again,
Yes, absolutely.
it's just like riding a bike. The bike does control somewhat how your body is shaped on that device,
Yeah.
but you're also pushing against that device. So it has to be this give and take around how those tools work.
So,
I'm a true productivity cynic.
are you? I am a productivity cynic.
I am in terms of the tools that I'm bringing in.
Oh,
I
okay.
am in terms of like, is this going to be worth my time?
And is it?
I mean, so far so good.
Yeah.
So far so good, to the point where like I'm dragging you cowboy boots, kicking and screaming.
No, I do love a good productivity tool, and I love the promise that fresh out of the box promise that's going to fix everything. But going back to our point, and that is, it's going to fix things only if your workflows are good.
Right.
If your workflows are bad, ain't nothing going to happen.
I like to lighten this to the, I'm going to move to a new town and everything's going to change.
Yes,
You're still you.
Yeah. Yes.
You're still you.
You are still you.
You are still you. So utilize tools that work for you. So
And also, check our new Substack because we are posting and we're going to give extra information right there.
yes, we do have a Substack now. We've moved away from the website because the website was a lot of work.
And did not work with our workflows.
Yes, it was
especially
not. It was
mine.
not a great tool. Was not a great tool. So we've moved to a Substack. Weekly emails are coming out, resources, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll put that link in the description here. And so I think that is our episode.
Yes.
Here. So if you've got your own horror stories involving Planner or Loop or Notes, or not just horror stories, but like moments of delight, let us know in the comments. And, misery and joy, both love company. We'll take either of them. See you in the next one. Now let me get back to my loop.
Loop.
We're not dancing yet.
We are all the time.
All the time.
On the inside. Okay, stop. You have something on your nose.
I'm delightful.
Let's not have that throughout.
Do we want to start over?
Yeah, probably should. Unless you want me to keep it.
Could go in at the end as a blooper. Guy dancing and, hey, you have something on your nose. Well,